The summer season is one of the busiest times of the year for Lake George, but this summer businesses are experiencing a tourism slump.
Overall visitor spending from those with visas is down 5% compared to 2024. This is the slowest season Lake George has had in 30 years, and it's more than just customers.
What happens when an entire town's survival depends on Canadian tourists, and suddenly they stop coming? For decades, Lake George, New York, has been one of those classic summer getaways. Families crowd the waterfront, restaurants overflow, and shops buzz with energy. But this year, something feels different. Business owners say it's the slowest season in 30 years. The streets are quieter, the restaurants emptier, and the numbers, well, they're shocking. So what really happened? Why did an entire flow of Canadian visitors suddenly dry up? And what does this slump reveal about the fragile relationship between two countries that share the world's longest border? To understand the crisis, you first need to know just how much Lake George relies on Canadian travelers. For decades, Canadians have been more than just visitors. They've been the lifeblood of the summer season. Shopkeepers estimate that nearly 1 out of every 4 tables in a restaurant used to belong to Canadians. Families would come down from Quebec and Ontario, filling hotels, crowding the arcades, and fueling the nightlife. Sales tax revenue jumped, business owners thrived, and the community became addicted to that seasonal boost. But this year, shop owners are reporting numbers that sound almost unreal. One restaurant said business is down 40 to 50% compared to last summer. Another said the slump feels like a 75% wipeout. These aren't just small dips. These are survival-threatening collapses. And yet, the strangest part? It didn't happen gradually. It happened almost overnight. Talk to locals, and you'll hear the same phrase again and again. "I've never seen it this bad." The owner of a longtime grill house said bluntly, "This is the slowest season in 30 years. Others claim entire weekends passed with barely any Canadian traffic. Seasonal jobs that used to bring in international students from across the world? Scarce. Some young workers are now juggling 2 or 3 side jobs just to survive." One local said, "The town feels empty. It's not just fewer tourists. It's like the energy has drained out." So what's behind this collapse? Bad luck? A changing economy? Or something bigger? Something that stretches far beyond this small tourist town? Look closely, and you'll see political tension simmering beneath the surface. In recent years, the relationship between Washington and Ottawa has grown complicated. Tariffs and trade disputes hit headlines. Travel restrictions popped up during global health crises, and now border delays are becoming legendary. Long lines, strict checks, and a feeling among some Canadians that they're simply not welcome. Rumors suggest that frustration at the border has been turning Canadians away. Why wait hours in line only to spend your money in a country where politics seem uncertain, when you could vacation at home or fly somewhere warmer? Some locals whisper that this slump isn't just about economics. They say it's political fallout, quiet resistance from Canadian families choosing to stay home, and maybe even a hint of boycott. Whether that's true or not, the perception alone is enough to fuel speculation. But politics is only part of the story. Travel habits are changing everywhere. Americans are showing up in larger numbers. Families from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut are filling some of the gaps left behind by Canadians. Owners say this is one of the few bright spots. People are traveling closer to home. Meanwhile, Canadians seem to be looking elsewhere. With gas prices spiking and the U.S. dollar towering over the Canadian loonie, crossing the border just isn't cheap anymore. Many are opting for domestic destinations in Quebec or Ontario, while others are lured by international deals: Mexico, the Caribbean, even Europe. One restaurant owner put it simply: people are making different choices. Lake George is no longer their first pick. But while visitors are exploring new options, the people of Lake George are left grappling with something far darker. Behind the tourism slump is another ripple effect: jobs. Lake George used to be a magnet for seasonal workers. College kids, international students, and young adults looking for a summer adventure would flock here, staffing the ice cream stands, bars, and souvenir shops. Now, that system is breaking down. With fewer tourists, businesses are cutting staff. Some students are struggling to even find a single summer job, while others are forced to take multiple part-time gigs just to scrape by. And for the owners, the math is brutal. Fewer workers means slower service. Slower service means unhappy tourists. And unhappy tourists don't return. It's a vicious cycle that could send even long-time establishments into permanent closure. One local said bluntly, "If next summer looks like this one, half the places on this strip won't survive." Still, not everyone is ready to give up. Some businesses are pivoting. They're launching promotions to lure nearby American travelers. Stay local campaigns are popping up, urging New Yorkers to rediscover the beauty in their own backyard. Discounts and family packages are being advertised more aggressively than ever. There's cautious hope that this is just a temporary downturn, and that Canadian visitors will eventually return once border frustrations ease. After all, Lake George has survived economic crashes, pandemics, and recessions before. But beneath that optimism lies a growing fear that this isn't just a slump, but a permanent shift. So what happens now? Some reports claim border officials are already discussing ways to ease travel tensions. Others suggest that unless the Canadian dollar strengthens, Lake George will always struggle to pull in the numbers it once had. Locals are split. Some say the only answer is to stop relying so heavily on Canadians and reinvent the town's image for Americans. Others believe the slump will pass, and loyalty from Canadian families will eventually bring them back. But one thing is clear: the town's survival hangs in the balance. Lake George is more than just a summer getaway. It's a symbol of how fragile tourism economies can be. When one link in the chain breaks, whether it's politics, money, or travel trends, the entire system wobbles. And while the restaurants and shops wait for the crowds to return, one question lingers: was this summer just an anomaly, or the beginning of the end for Lake George's golden age of tourism?